welcome to Talking Shop. This is Ecommerce's look at the world of e-commerce news. I'm Mike and this is Jessie from the Ikea marketing team. And for this very special festive edition of the show, here are the headlines.
A review of Black Friday online spending in 2022. We'll take a look at Christmas spending in 2022. Ikea launches sustainable boat deliveries in Paris via the River Seine. ASOS to write off unsold inventory in order to refresh brand. Card payments soared to 90% of retail transactions in 2021. And gift now, pay later, 63% are relying on buy now, pay later this Christmas.
So welcome to this special Christmas edition of Talking Shop. That is a jumper.
Thank you so much. I feel like it needs full appreciation, but I'd like to know where your Christmas threads are today.
Well, yeah, I thought when I saw you when you walked in the building, I was like, I've really let the side down here, but I have managed to source either a special EKM Santa hat,
okay,
or I could be one of Santa's little helpers, and
yeah, I'll go with that one.
Yeah?
Perfect.
Should we keep this on?
Fantastic.
Are you going to be able to take me seriously? We've got serious...
Well, luckily I'll look at the camera, not at you.
Which is something you should always do, really, shouldn't it? So obviously we had Black Friday the back end of last month. We sort of speculated about what people would be doing, how they would be spending their money. You know, will we see an increase in sales, decrease in sales? Will we see that transaction from high street to online continue to increase? So we've got some figures back. Obviously it's early stages. You never quite know what the impact is until you get to the sort of end of a financial year, really. So obviously this was the first Black Friday we've had without sort of post-pandemic, without restrictions and that sort of thing. We saw the e-commerce sales increase. So in 2016, 2.79 billion came from e-commerce sales. 2021, that increased to 5.74 billion. So you're looking at an increase of sort of double there. Wow. So we're interested to see what the total sales would be in 2022. One thing we do know is something that we spoke about in the last episode is it's sort of spending trends. We know that the average spend per customer went up £17.33 compared to last year in 2021.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what we sort of thought would happen for this year, is where you have maybe they weren't buying as many goods, but the average basket value was a lot higher.
Yeah.
Sort of backing up that thought that people are starting to go now towards more higher quality products rather than buying these sort of, whether it's fast fashion or these little gadgets.
I feel like it might be a combination. Like people are moving to more percentage of their shop being online in general. But like you said, I think with things are just costing more now. So the average spend after basket value is going to go up. Yeah,
that should be. I think we went further in depth with the Black Friday stuff last time, but you would want that to increase. If that didn't increase, that would be it'd be very bad. Yeah. But that is quite a decent increase to see that people are starting to, people were spending more over Black Friday. And certainly a lot of the data you're showing, you're seeing on the amount of companies participating in Black Friday. We had some stats last time and we just thought that they were just unrealistic, where they were saying, loads of people are going to opt out on Black Friday. But actually the numbers still stacked up, that a lot of companies were still offering discounts on Black Friday. Yeah. So this grand opt out of this marketing event of the year just didn't really happen. So looking forward to Christmas, obviously a lot of people are talking about the cost of living crisis and what have you. We've got some sort of some studies from vouchercodes.co.uk who have been doing and analysing a lot of the data, particularly of this week of Christmas. So we're coming to you on the 21st of December. How shoppers and their behaviours are sort of spending over this week. It's quite interesting. And they've sort of gone on this basis that it's almost a full week of Christmas.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
So Christmas is happening on Sunday, and then your bank holidays are coming, on Monday and Tuesday next week. So it's basically the data that they collect of when and where people are spending money is slightly different this year, because you're getting it on a non-sort of working day on the Sunday, aren't you?
I mean, this is totally not related to retail, but I mean, it's even moved. Mad Friday is like literally the day before Christmas Eve this year, I think. Is that right? Something like that. But usually, anyway, that has nothing to do with e-commerce
you're
retail.
Right, because hospitality was Mad Friday on the 17th. I think it was it 16th?
It was either the 16th or this coming Friday.
23rd.
And technically, people will say it's the Friday before Christmas. So if you take that, then it is yet to happen. But it's never that close to Christmas. There's usually like a padded window of time where it doesn't really conflict with your Christmas Eve plans or whatever. You have sort of that week to recover if you might need it. But yeah, I think that just shows such a change in the shopping trends of, there's that whole last shopping day before Christmas is usually sort of like the last retail shopping where the stores are open, and now that's all the way through, like you've got a whole week.
Yeah, also Black Friday, was it ever really the final Friday before Christmas, or was it the final working Friday?
Mad Friday.
Mad Friday. Yeah. Mad Friday. Was Mad Friday always the last Friday before Christmas, or was it actually more realistically the last working day or Friday?
Perhaps,
because really of the bank holidays, you can take the full Christmas week off with only 3 days holiday. You see, so it's a bit confusing, isn't it? But although you say it doesn't really seem related, it is quite when people's behaviours are all geared towards these big days and when the bank holidays are and that sort of thing.
It's throwing people off a little bit, but in some ways, I suppose it's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
More time to shop.
So what vouchercodes.co.uk, they've taken days of this week and studied the sort of the total spend, and they're saying that the 19th of December this year was down 7.4% from 2021. But obviously they are attributing that to things like having more days to, that spend will carry over. But we just spoke before, didn't we? The valid point that you made was that we've obviously had these Royal Mail strikes. I think it's been so much in the news, hasn't it, really, that it's valid to say that people have been shopping earlier.
Definitely.
To make sure that those deliveries come in time.
I don't know about you, but this is definitely the earliest I've completed my Christmas shop, and I'm usually quite late on that.
Yeah.
I've been done for a while.
No, totally agree. We have as well, actually. So looking at the behaviours of retailers and what have you as well, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've definitely done, and this sort of study suggests that as well, is that offers still seem to be available during this time. I'm going on websites now and I'm seeing sales that, and some of the things that I looked at around Black Friday are still actually that same price now heading into, they've not really put the price back up and then it's gone down. Yeah. They seem to elongated these sales right across the Christmas period.
Yeah, I suppose I have noticed that in a few places, or they've changed the sale just ever so slightly. Maybe it's not but yeah, I've definitely seen that.
Yeah, so it might be something that you look at, maybe Christmas is going forward. Obviously it's quite late now, but what are your offers on Black Friday, what are your offers on Boxing Day, and then what do you do in this in-between period? And do you maybe have a look at the days of the week when Christmas falls and those couple of week-long strategies?
Yeah, there's definitely something to that when you think of like if you're going to send out any marketing communications, like what days of the week are going to be slow days where you want to spur people into action, or when we know they're already going to be shopping, should we have them come shop with us? Those sorts of things, something to think about. And
think about shipping as well.
Yes,
how quickly will people get these products, and how does the discounts on the days of the week affect that as well? Something
I've noticed, this is just a compliment to the online shop owners we have with EKM, have been really good about communicating the shipping times on their websites, because I've been looking at quite a few. We did a gift guide last week where we talked about some different shops that you can buy with on EKM. And nearly every single one that I looked at in their header bar, they had sort of like last day to shop before Christmas for guaranteed Christmas delivery, which obviously it's too late for you to implement that now if you've not done it this year. But for next year, I think that's a really strong way to let people know if you want it to arrive by Christmas, and it gives that sense of urgency and spurs people along. So if you're one of those people that had that on, great job. It was nice to see as a shopper.
Absolutely, and especially if you're an independent retailer as well. I think everybody's aware of the strikes that are going on and the disruption that's been caused through, with shipping and deliveries. So I think as an independent retailer, that communication is really appreciated, probably more from yourself than the large companies who people say, well, you could just go somewhere else, you could get someone else to ship it to me, and that sort of thing. So, right now, a bit of a light-hearted couple of stories here, really. I just loved when I read it. I was like, it's really interesting how we sort of have these clashes between the traditional and the new technologies, and then sometimes you find that things go so far that you end up back to the original way that you used to do things. Ikea launches sustainable boat deliveries in Paris via the River Seine. So they've got a shop at one part of Paris, and in order to cut CO2 emissions, they are putting their products on this barge. It is literally a barge, and sending it down the River Seine, which is cutting down CO2 from the roads in Paris. They're saying it's saving around 300,000 kilometres of CO2 on Parisian roads, and hopefully to get their products in a more timely manner to people the other side of the city.
How are the people getting it from the boat? That's my question. Is it just so Ikea sends it to these ports or docks or whatever, and then a delivery truck collects it from there and takes it the rest of the way, or is the end user having to meet them at the dock? Because I don't know how I'm supposed to load my Pax wardrobes onto my scooter to get to my apartment in Paris, which obviously I have an apartment in Paris.
Well, this launches. This gets us onto another similar story. Now, this is saying that this is happening in the Netherlands, which is very understandable. So, if you've ever been to the Netherlands, you'll realise that it is so flat. It is an unbelievably flat country. And as someone who comes from rural Lancashire in England, where there's lots of hills, I find it the most strange experience whenever you're going through the Netherlands. Have you ever been?
No, but I know what you're getting at is the amount of cycles that there are, which I've heard, I've seen the photos, and as someone, when I'm driving, cyclists make me very on edge. I cannot even imagine living where that. But I didn't know it was because they're a flat country. I guess I never knew.
Well,
that,
it's part of it. Yeah.
I didn't know that was contributing. But yeah, go on then.
Ikea launches solar-powered delivery bikes in the Netherlands. Now, I can't understand. So I don't know whether this plays into whether they could partner this with the barge down the River Seine in Paris. But how would you fit some wardrobes on the back of a bike? This is the picture. I'll pop it on the screen. This is the picture that has been provided to us there. So
you could fit a fair amount in that. Definitely not a wardrobe. Has it got a top on it?
I think
it does have a top on it. But you could fit. I don't know.
Now,
you could fit a dresser, flat pack.
Yeah, in Amsterdam, where they have these sort of small cobbled streets, and you have perfect for the canal sort of approach here in Amsterdam, because they've got so many canals, just a city full of canals. They have winches from houses where they put a rope around, and that's how they get wardrobes up to like the third floor of these houses.
Right.
So, where we've been talking about driverless vehicles, potentially, drones transporting your products and what have you. It seems that the future is a barge, then a bike, and then it's going to get winched up to your house. I don't know whether I fell asleep and got in the DeLorean and now I'm suddenly in 1876, but somehow that's the way IKEA seems to be going.
Can't wait for our carrier pigeon marketing messages.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes old technology is the best technology, and we'll be keeping an eye out for that. But for fair play to IKEA for trying to go down the carbon neutral approach as well.
They've always done a really good job with it, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. What it would be really cool to see is if like major mail carriers start to take on the same sort of thing. So imagine seeing like your postie on like a solar powered bike, which, like where you live, like you said, is a bit too hilly.
Yeah, that would be a nightmare.
I imagine it won't actually probably be that long before we're seeing electric powered mail vehicles and those sorts of things. I would imagine it's probably just around the corner.
I imagine they will lead the way as well, because the savings that could possibly be there for courier services could be massive. Could be massive,
but we're going to have to end with this. That's a whole conversation in of itself.
Yeah, but interesting thing IKEA did on Black Friday was a buyback thing, so you could trade in your old furniture at IKEA.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. Apple Car, it's a bit late now, but Black Friday preview blog, and there was a bit of detail in there.
I'll just keep some more stuff in my garage till next year then.
Exactly, yeah. It's great little thing there about, obviously they are synonymous, aren't they, IKEA, with, sort of flat pack, really easy to put together, quite disposable.
Is it easy to put together?
Depending on your skill set, I guess. Actually, no, depending on anyone's skill set, isn't it? Yeah. But it's nice that they're sort of managing that dynamic between, sort of quite throwaway. Look, some of the stuff's pretty decently made at IKEA, but it's not, you're not going to get a carpenter to make you a, like a dressing table or anything like that. But it's nice to see that contrast, that they're happy to take old stuff on board and that sort of thing, or trying to make it a little bit more sustainable and renewable. Which can't be said for this next story, which is a strange one, really. This isn't the way I personally see things going, and some of the feedback that people and the figures that you're seeing come in about online retail, about people wanting higher quality products, more sustainable, more robust, and things that are going to last a little bit longer. ASOS are to write off unsold inventory to refresh the brand. They are saying that ASOS are pledged to scale back discounts, but write off 100 million, between 100 million and 130 million of out of fashion inventory to help refresh its brand. So basically, what they've experienced is that they are having quite a lot of surplus stock that isn't selling because obviously they are this sort of fast fashion brand that is going out of fashion before they get the chance to sell it. So their solution to this is to probably buy less but almost sell more in shorter buying cycles, they're saying.
Yeah.
So basically the company is looking to operate a shorter buying cycle with accelerated speed to market. So when you say accelerated speed to market, that doesn't sound great because that basically means that there's going to be a lot of factories over in these more developing countries that they're going to want to get products to them and from them quicker, and which means obviously that's not really going to take into account more sustainable shipping and all that sort of process, which is going to facilitate an enhanced customer proposition that offers new products more regularly.
So, and I know I mentioned this when we briefly discussed this before, but it's almost like they're adopting a similar business model to, how do you even say that? Shein.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows how to say it, but
yeah.
But that's kind of their thing that's made them get so big is that they. You can phrase this better than me, but they take advantage of that short cycle and just sell little bits of things very quickly and then get rid of it and onto the next thing so quickly.
Exactly.
But people know them as a cheap brand and they know the quality is going to be poor. So
yeah.
I'm wondering, will ASOS's position in the market, will it shift into being, because I don't necessarily think of them as fast fashion. I know they're not necessarily also high quality sustainable, but I would never, if I was going to list what are the fast fashion brands, I wouldn't list ASOS first.
No, because they do sell branded things. It's not like all their own brand stuff.
Yeah,
they
do
sell.
If this is sort of where they're going and they're going to do this huge and very unsustainable practice of just getting rid of all of this inventory, then I don't know. They are going more.
Absolutely.
And I am really surprised by that.
Yeah, I am really. I mean, we were saying, weren't we, that everything sort of, it's very hard when you get older and you get sort of more stuck in your ways to sort of look objectively sometimes at these things. But it does feel like everything is going in and out of fashion very, very quickly in this digital age. Whether that's clothing, whether that's music, whether that's television shows, whatever it is, it just doesn't seem to stick around as long. But there's obviously there's only so quick that cycle can go before things come back around again.
Yes.
It seems like in the last 10 years, we've almost gone through the previous 6 decades worth of fashion.
In the span of a year.
Exactly. So, we were talking about, I think on an episode of Talk Show, we were talking about flares had come back in fashion, but now it feels like they've gone back out of fashion.
Yeah.
And, it's how quickly can this stuff keep going back around and what have you. So, how sustainable is this in itself? I mean, I know it's not trying to be sustainable, but it's almost so quick that it becomes, I don't know, it sort of eats itself really on the way around, doesn't it?
But I feel like ASOS did do for a while, trying really hard to shove what they had done to be sustainable towards the consumers and really market it and say, here's our new lines that we're launching. And when you're shopping, you can actually tick a box that says, show me sustainable brands. Yeah. So they were obviously making quite an effort to get towards that, but this is not the way. I will say one thing that definitely never goes out of fashion: cats on pizza for Christmas. Never goes out of fashion. I've had this for 4 years. Still, every year it's a hit.
I don't want to be insulting, but it's almost so unfashionable that it is impossible to pigeonhole how fashionable it is.
And such is my fashion sense.
But what we will say to Ikea shop owners, independent retailers, is I kind of think this is almost good news. I wouldn't even try and chase what they're trying to do. No. I wouldn't try and change your products every 5 seconds. No. Do what you do well, and the customers will keep coming back because it's higher product, higher quality product, and just keep letting things go in and out of fashion.
Unless what you do is sort of that dropshipping model, and then but you can do that with the dropshipping model of just changing your products willy-nilly like that. But if you've got your own brand that you're involved in the creation and the design and the whole A to Z. Just keep doing what you're doing. That will be what makes you stand out from the likes of the ASOS. And
look at the popularity of your secondhand Depop and thrifted and vintage or whatever they are, massively. I've got a pair of combat pants that I bought in 2004. That was quite high. They were very high
very
end.
fashionable.
Yeah, they were Maharishi, if you must know. Oh, sorry, but at the time they were really fashionable. Like they were only in fashion because David Beckham wore them. You see, that sort of thing. Okay. Then they went completely out. If I had worn them around the place, everyone would be like, "What are you wearing? They're awful." And now they're even way back in fashion again.
Well,
what do you know? Eh? They will be getting sold. For hopefully a princely son. Anyway, right. This is the least surprising story of the year. This is looking back at last year.
I think this is the second least surprising of what we've got in today's episode.
Well, yes, probably.
First is to come.
Yes. So card payments soared to 90% of total resale spending in 2021. So that's looking back on last year, of course, with 82% of transactions on either a debit or credit card. That's up from 75% on 2020. And that's according to the latest annual payment survey from the British Retail Consortium. So good high quality study here. So obviously the pandemic changed the way we paid for things.
Yes.
We all know that. And that is what's kick-started this, probably on a more upwards trajectory than we would have seen if it would have been, without these extenuating circumstances that forced us to go that way.
Cashless and contactless became the new norm by and large everywhere.
Yeah.
And now even services that you might use before that were cash only have started to. They had to accept card for a while, so that kind of people have started to move over that. Like the local chippy used to just be a
taxi
cash
driver now
taxi.
takes, which is just a godsend.
It's really good, isn't it? But
So cash accounted for 15% of all transactions in 2021, down from 30% in 2020. So that's actually a massive drop when you think about it. That's half. So 3% of transactions were made up of alternative payments, which means stuff like buy now, pay later, and gift cards.
Thinking of what alternative.
Here's a bag of grain.
Here's my firstborn.
It's some magic beans.
Dowries and cows. And
you never know with the economy going the way that it was. And with canal barges coming back, bicycles. Maybe we will go to alternative payments. And I don't mean crypto. I mean,
that exists.
I'll give you a gallon of milk for a t-shirt.
Stop. How expensive is the gallon of milk, or how cheap's the shirt? I don't think I want to know.
Which leads us on to the final story, which is about buy now, pay later. And this comes down to people, obviously, with gifts, are paying 63% are relying on buy now, pay later for their Christmas purchases this year. 63%.
This is the one I think is the least surprising of the stories.
I was shocked. I mean, I don't know.
No, I mean, we're in a impending / current recession, cost of living crisis. Like, people are going to be wanting to continue to buy gifts for their loved ones, but maybe a bit tight for cash with the other things going on, and they think, well, I'll worry about it later. Yeah. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do.
Well, there's legitimate ways to look at that, isn't there? Because, about 4 months ago, if you were going for a mortgage, you could have found it at like 6%, which would have been a real panic stations for you. If you'd held out, then they're going back down to 4 to 5%.
It's still not great.
It's still not good. But that is the sort of things that you could argue that if you're making these purchases, and I don't know, I mean, interest on your savings doesn't go up that much, but you could work out beneficial that you'd offset the spend, but you don't actually gain. I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it. Yeah, it's really high level thinking.
Buy now, pay later. I mean, it is. They are great. I mean, they really do have their purpose, and I think that if you do have, obviously December for most families is going to be one of the spendiest months of the year. So if you're going to use it at a certain, if you're going to use it at any time in the year, it's probably going to be Christmas, because you've got so much outgoing. Your cost of heating's probably through the roof, and you've got gifts to buy for all 1 million nieces and nephews. So I get a little bit of a rant here.
Yes, 1 million nieces and nephews. We are all
I've only
one
got
big
3,
happy
and I love them very much. But all this to say that I don't find it shocking at all that people are using buy now, pay later, because most of them are going to be 0% interest.
Yeah.
And
Can you just? I mean, I don't want to out your spending habits, but you actually presented this. I don't think I've ever bought anything buy now, pay later. Obviously, you've got phones and stuff which are on contract, which is technically a finance, isn't it? But where you buy things, obviously, because if you're buying and you try it on and then you send it back. So it's not against the rules, is it?
It depends on what type of buy now pay later. So like, let's say there's like a paid in 30 is like a really common one.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people that want to order a few different sizes or different outfit choices for an event, you know, they'll order more than they might have done if they had to pay up front.
Yeah.
Put it on that 30-day delay, and by the time you've tried on the clothes, returned the clothes, you still haven't, no money has gone out. So you only end up paying in the end for what you've kept.
Just we are not offering financial advice here or ever
no,
on this show.
absolutely
So I do want to point
not.
that out,
Yeah, please don't take that financial advice. But I mean, it's been quite good for me.
This is some interesting stats here, particularly breaking it down on age demographics. So your millennials who are between sort of 25 to, I mean, it's saying 25 to 34, it's breaking down here. But millennials do go a little bit older, don't they? They're into their late 30s, really. Those aged 25 to 35 have also upped their spending, with 75% using buy now, pay later more regularly as everyday prices rocket. Shoppers aged between 18 to 24 have been the most reliant on the service, with 80% increase in their spend in the last 6 months. That's crazy.
But also, again, not shocking, because I think the concept of buy now, pay later came around for most millennials after they'd sort of gotten into their financial habits and like the way that they spend. Once you've nailed that in, it's not likely to change unless your circumstances change, where Gen Z has basically come into their financial maturity with the option of buy now, pay later. So to them, it's totally normal to just say, I will pay for that later.
Yeah, really good point.
Where I think for our generation, for the millennial generation, it's more, you would put it on a credit card, but then hopefully that was a bit of a scary concept. I don't know. I feel like my parents really drilled into me. So it really depends on, I think, what's the style. So for that reason, I think it's not surprising that
credit may be more acceptable these days than maybe, you know, more, I guess, parents were more prudent.
But also,
back
I
in the
mean,
day.
if you look at the stories of people that may not realize that it actually does affect your credit if you're purchasing things on a buy now, pay later and then not paying later. See, that's the important bit. So
in the end,
one would think that you do actually have to pay for things, and that is important, but I guess some people must forget about that. And so yes, that will affect your credit, in case you didn't know.
And just to bring the last couple of stories full circle, some 39% of Gen Z users claim to be using buy now, pay later to keep up with fashion trends. Crazy, isn't it? When it's all just at the touch of a finger, it's so hard to just sort of say, no, do you know what, I will remain unfashionable forever instead of spending my spare time shopping for clothes. But hey, we want a good balance, don't we? That's what we want. Right, I think that brings us to the end of the episode and the end of Talking Shop for 2022.
Wow.
It's been a great year. It's been a tough year at times, but hopefully we'll look forward to a more fruitful 2023, more stable, hopefully. And have a great Christmas. Hanukkah or whatever you're celebrating over the course of this festive period.
Or nothing, if you're not celebrating anything, that's fine too.
Absolutely.
But we're just excited to see what 2023 is going to bring. So wishing you a very fruitful 2023 and a Happy New Year.
Bye.